Yay Networks.
Hi, Wild Ones. Welcome back to the Wild Rose podcast. I'm Whitney Rose.
And I'm Connie Daniels. How's it going, Whit?
You know, it's gone great. I miss you. I feel like I haven't seen you in forever, which is insane. You didn't even come to my house for Thanksgiving.
I know I hosted this year. I don't usually host, and so we usually pop on over to your house after my mom's house. But this year I had people over, so I know it didn't feel quite like Thanksgiving.
Oh, it did
without
not.
going to the Roses. But yeah, here we are again.
I know. And thank you, everyone, for being so patient with us. We've been a little late on our recaps because between Connie and I, we just have not been in town.
I know, and we've had a bit of some technical difficulties we've worked through, but we're back. We're here. We are here to recap episodes 11 and 12. A lot has gone on, and I've been dying to chat with you, Whitney, about all this stuff and see where you're at with all of it.
All right.
So, should we dive in?
Yeah, hit me with it. See what you got.
Okay, well, I just have to say, episode 11 starts off with Angie and Sean on a date. And I felt like on this date, obviously it was a little awkward. They didn't have a lot to say. They haven't really dated each other in years, it sounds like. So for me, watching it, it was just a good reminder for me to always date my husband, or date your spouse, date your partner, because it's easy to let life get in the way. And if you don't, one day Electa is going to be grown up and gone, and they're going to be left with these, more of these moments where they don't have a lot to talk about unless they kind of get going. I think they're noticing it and realizing it. That's kind of what I got out of it, is like, oh my gosh, we don't have a lot to talk about because we haven't done this and we've neglected it. So what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And by the way, her name's Electra.
Oh, I thought so. Yeah, I for sure had that right. I'm the worst.
Electra. Yeah, Electra. Yeah. So I agree because
I was close.
I think you were very close. I'm just teasing you. And for Electra, because she's one of my fans, so I got to make sure we say her name right.
Yes, sorry, Electra.
No, it's hard because my kids are 13 and 10, and Justin and I are very much in that phase of life where, quite literally, this, after 3 p.m. until about 10 p.m. every single day of the week, we are running our kids to and from soccer, strength and conditioning, school. Like, there's hardly any time like for Justin and I. Like, it's like, so I get that aspect of you have to, like what you're saying is make the time, schedule a time. Like Justin and I were talking about that. Like maybe we just on Wednesdays, because that's like the easiest driving day, find someone like a nanny to come over on Wednesdays and drive the kids. And then we can go on our dinner dates, things like that. Right. So I agree, because I can relate with Sean and Angie on that, because there's been a few points in my marriage where I'm just like, oh yeah, who are you? Like, what? Do you have anything to say to me?
Right.
And then we end up just talking about our kids the whole time.
Yep. I think a lot of people can relate to this a lot, and myself as well. And I kind of made it a rule, like, okay, when we go out, we have to talk about, we can touch base on like kids, work, whatever, but like, let's think of some interesting things to talk about. Like, who are you today? Like we're all changing and evolving. And I think if we don't kind of check in with our partner, we really don't really know the person that they're evolving into, and they don't really know us. So anyway, I thought that was like although it was a little bit awkward at first, I was like, okay, this is a great reminder to everyone.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's why double dates are fun, because you do pull out that others, like you pull out the more individual side of each other.
Yeah.
Where you're talking, like, I think that's why double dates work so well. I know that's why we always love to go out with you and Ben, right? Because we talk about things that have nothing to do with like our daily, like it's fun and it's laughter. And I know that Justin and I always go home feeling like, oh, we actually had fun together, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Heather and Monica start planning this Bermuda trip finally. It just kind of touches on that where they're out at a little bar and decide to go to Bermuda. Because that is where Monica's family is from, originated, or her mom.
Yeah, her mom's side.
Okay. So that's where the idea comes. Then it jumps into you and Justin up at the Meredith and Seth's house to do the podcast with them. And their podcast is about relationships, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And so,
or is it about Seth? I can't tell.
That's a good question.
Because the entire time I was on the podcast, I felt like I was watching a sports announcer announcing himself for about 30 minutes.
Well, and they didn't have time to edit all of that into the show. So,
but I think the world knows Seth's personality enough to know what I'm talking about. Like Justin and I just sat there staring at him, laughing, and Meredith just like shaking her head, like, "Oh my God, give this man a little attention and look what he does."
And I think we all by now, and 4 seasons, kind of get that aspect of him and kind of how him and Meredith work together. And it's kind of comical.
Yeah.
So what are people still wondering if your marriage is on the rocks? Because I know that kind of brought up questions. I mean, it shows you guys, this is in the next episode where you guys go to therapy, but like you talk about therapy, you're talking about how relationships are, that it's tough. So do people, are they questioning you still about that, or how do you, I was receiving that?
Yeah, I say daily. I was really worried that I was going to receive a lot of hate over this, but it was actually the opposite. People were reaching out saying, thank you. Like, thank you for you and Justin being honest and truthful, because this is where I'm at in my marriage, or I'm going through this right now too, or I've been through that, or like it's been actually the received opposite for the most part of how I thought it would be. And a lot of people are grateful that we are open and honest about it. And I think the biggest thing is people joking around or not joking around about when I talk about monogamy being hard. And, I think that there's been a few things written, a few things said. I'm not saying that I'm not monogamous. I'm saying it takes a lot of fucking work to be monogamous. Like, I think it's easier when things get hard and uncomfortable. I think it's easier to just be like, I'm done.
Oh, sure.
It's scary.
That's the easy way out.
But I think the hard thing is to sit in your shit, to decide, okay, I have some stuff I need to work through. We need to work through together. And like keeping that spark alive for 14 years. I mean, realistically, Justin and I have been together 16 years. And keeping the spark alive that long takes work. I don't care what anyone says. If someone feels like they are like, no, 100%, I've been through life. I've been through loss of money, loss of businesses, growth, fame, losing a job, building a business, having kids. And they're like, no, my life has been like, I 100% still have that same level of chemistry that we did in the beginning. Like, I want to know where you are because I want to talk to you and learn your ways. But other than that, I think it's bullshit when people are like, my life is perfect. It's easy.
Right.
Because being a human is not easy.
No, absolutely. And then having 2 separate worlds combined into one is incredibly hard. Like you said, like we have all this stuff going on and we're all changing and evolving at the same time. It's impossible to keep that exact same level of passion and excitement. But I'm going to back up just a tiny bit because I said you said when things get tough, the easier choice would be to just be like, hey, I'm done. And I said, that's the easy way out. I'm going to take that back. It's not the easy way out, but sometimes it's it feels like the easier choice because, I've been married, divorced. We did call it quits. So, and that was not easy at all. So different type of hard, but it is hard to keep a relationship together and the spark still there. So
yeah,
it's a lot of work and both people have to be working on it, not just one of
exactly.
And that's tough, but
that's all I was trying to say is it just takes a lot of work. And sometimes
absolutely.
it does. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just flows and it's easy and,
and that's nice.
Yeah. But that's not realistic. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. All right. So the big thing that happens in this episode is this pioneer lunch or brunch that Heather has. And she makes y'all dress up in bonnets and aprons, which is such a pioneer thing. In fact, when I saw everyone in the bonnets and aprons at the lunch, it reminded me, did you ever go up to the Lion House when you were young? It's downtown by the temple. It's called the Lion House. So it's Brigham Young's house.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been there before? I think they do receptions and they do little events and stuff.
I had one of my friends' wedding reception or like luncheon after the temple was there or something.
Okay. Yeah. So Brigham Young was the second president of the church, right? I think so.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have all my history right, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yeah, you're correct.
When I was 8 years old, we went to the Lion House and I think we all wore bonnets and aprons like you guys did. But we pulled taffy. We didn't churn butter, but we pulled taffy and, I have that vivid memory and that came flashing back when I saw all of you in your bonnets and aprons. It cracked me up.
That was the most confusing event for me because,
was it?
Well, yeah, because I've had like all season, all last year, all this last year, we're still in the same year. Heather, like going against the church, questioning Jack's mission, really pressuring me for why I'm supporting Lisa and Jack in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like she has this whole big persona of I'm leaving the Mormon Church and my life has been so hard because of it. So showing up there and I think I said it in the confessional, I'm like, if you're leaving, why are we going right back to where it started and celebrating it? Like, it's one thing to respect where you came from, but like that was the most confusing thing for me because it made me feel like I think Heather wants to be Mormon.
You know what I think it showed? I think it showed how she really is still conflicted. There's something inside of her that's still conflicted, and that showed it even more. Because I can hear it sometimes. Like, I think she wants to convince herself for sure, absolutely, this is not for me. But there is a piece of her that still like sort of clings to it a little bit, even though I don't think she wants to admit or say that. But I get it. It's a hard thing to leave your whole, your heritage and your belief system and all of that, and how do you start fresh from that, right? And
it's her own journey. Hers, all of our journeys look different. I'm just trying my best to support her.
Understand it.
No, I'm just trying my best to support her in it and be supportive. But it's just hard when it's kind of like all over the place. But it's like, it doesn't have to be linear. So
yeah, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. But that was the weirdest day of my life. I stand by it. Well, and you know what? I wish Heather, like, it's maybe she'll never figure it out, but I hope that she gets a little more clarity because I know living in confusion is really frustrating. That's a hard place to be.
No, absolutely. I think it takes time because I feel like I can kind of relate to that, being conflicted with that actually, I think a lot of years. There were certain things that, like, showing up at my parents' house without my garments on, I felt like, oh, are they judging me? Or they, because I just want everyone to, like, I don't know, we just want to go through it and not have to make anyone feel upset about it. And family does get upset because, if you truly believe all of it, they believe that you're not going to be there with them in heaven after. So it obviously that is upsetting for family. So anyway, I guess we could kind of go on and on about that, but getting back to the lunch. So Lisa and Monica just can't not be mean to each other at this point. Like they're, you guys start playing this game and Lisa throws out, what did she say? She said something like, who you're going to throw off your wagon or your cart. And she's like, oh, the person here that's mean to other women is Monica. And then they go at it and are screaming and yelling and nobody else gets a turn unless they edited them out. But I have a feeling nobody got a turn after that. No,
point. we all got a turn.
Oh, you did?
And yeah, everyone else took it like as a joke. Like, I think I threw Meredith off. Like we took it as like a literal like joke. Haha. It's kind of like, since we're in the holiday season, like a white elephant game gift where like you steal the gift and it's like, you're going to piss your friend off, but you want the gift.
Yeah.
Like that's how the game started. And then when it came to Lisa and Monica, it took like our throw our wagon off was also boring compared to theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But it's interesting because it's like the two meanest people going at it.
Right.
They just trigger the shit out of each other. And like, I'm sorry, Lisa, like, you're not always the nicest to women.
It's like the pot calling the kettle black here.
Yeah.
Well, and so you guys are supposedly churning this butter. I don't know. I've never churned butter, but I feel like there might be a little more to it than just shaking it in a jar. But one of the jars goes flying. Angie chucks her jar.
Our resident Greek just always will take a little further, right? Opa! Yeah, but the Lisa and Monica thing, I just think they just don't like each other because they're, Yeah. Yeah. They just don't work.
Yeah.
That's all.
I don't. Yeah. It's like oil and vinegar here.
Yeah.
So how do you actually sit through these? I mean, are you used to these dinners, lunches? Like somebody always is going to pop off and it's going to turn into this. Like when you're not the one involved, you just kind of like observe it. And I don't know. I mean, there's not really room they don't leave a lot of like oxygen in the air to pop in and say anything. Yeah,
it was, usually it's a feeling of, at least it's not me this time, But that was actually a hard day for me. And I don't want to go into too much detail, but this is when Sherry was in Texas. Mm-hmm. And we didn't know what was going to happen yet. So I think I was more distracted by what was going on with our friend than anything. So I ended up leaving. Like once we got the announcement of the trip out of the way, I took off because I was like, I can't do this right now.
Right. When
probably normally I'd like probably sit there and just like enjoy the entertainment.
Yeah.
But no, it's hard. It's hard if you're not, when you have bigger picture things going on in life, like those little stupid petty fights are so hard to sit through.
For sure. I can see that.
And you remember that time where we didn't know what was
I remember you saying that you had this lunch to go to, but you were like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. Like my mind is consumed as all were, but like, then you're like, well, maybe it will be a good distraction. I don't know if you thought that or I thought that, but I'm like, it might be a good distraction for a few minutes.
I think that people forget too that like, it's my job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's true. It's like you're not, you can't just not show up to work.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
I mean, if I really mentally and emotionally felt like I could not, I would not. But, you know, I think that there's kind of this thing that people forget that, you know, I'm supposed to be there.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody really gets it unless they've done it. You know, it's like, it's such a different type of a job than anyone's experienced.
Yeah. And honestly,
as far as your other friends go.
Yeah. And I mean, you get to see the behind the scenes of like how mentally and emotionally and physically time consuming all of the things this is. And I felt like I was doing a really good job of compartmentalizing what Sherry was going through at the time and stuff in my own marriage. Like I was like compartmentalizing a lot. I feel like I did a lot better this season of like separating things that, you know, I didn't pull a Meredith Marks and I could have made it an excuse all season and like treated people a certain way. And I didn't. I feel like I did a really good job until Meredith's party, which we will get to. Maybe this is a good place to end because I don't know. I feel like until episode 12 and 13, I don't know. I think really, I feel like I'm really proud of myself for being able to stay strong and compartmentalize all of the heaviness that was going on outside of the show. And until episode 12, which I still feel like I handled myself very well. Like you know, I don't know. Anyways, we can leave it at that.
We'll get into that.
Episode 12. Yeah.
For sure.
But
all right.
But overall, did you like episode 11? A lot of people were like, that was a filler episode. That was weird. Or people loved it. They were like, our pioneer mothers. Like it was like a 50-50.
Yeah. I was a little bit torn on it. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. I don't know. It was fun to talk about it. I think there was more there than what I was thinking on my own. So it was fun to talk to you about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just proud of Salt Lake where our ratings go up each week. And
that's awesome.
It's cool to be a part of something that people love. Yeah. And just want to say thank you to everyone for all of your love and support, especially through me sharing stuff about Justin and I and, you know, what we've been going through. And it's hard to share your personal life. So when you receive love from all of you, it's so amazing. So thank you so much. I honestly could not do this without all of you. So thank you so much for listening to our podcast and supporting us, Connie and I, the show, all of the things. And don't forget. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Connie.
No, you're good.
The only hard thing about doing these over the internet is sometimes we step on each other.
I know.
But don't forget, be you.
Stay wild.
Yay Networks.